From LPM,
Louisville Public Media.
Support comes from Vision Zero. On foot or behind the wheel, safety is a shared responsibility. And Vision Zero Louisville believes 0 roadway fatalities is the only acceptable amount. Their mission is to create safe roads by design, engineering solutions, and education. More information at visionzerolouisville.org.
Welcome to On Track. I'm Aisha Jaffer. Food is a powerful link to tradition, community, and faith. This week, we're exploring how food plays a vital role in religious practices, shaping cultural identity and carrying meaning far beyond the plate. Louisville has a vibrant fish fry scene, a tradition rooted in Lent observance. And today we're talking about these fish fries, taking a closer look at the seasonal staple with Father Bill Hammer. Father Bill is a lifelong Louisvillian and has been a Catholic priest for nearly 45 years. Ordained in 1980, he studied at St. Mary's Seminary in Baltimore and Catholic University in Washington, D.C. He has served at multiple parishes with active fish fry traditions and is now the pastor of St. William Catholic Church in Louisville's Park Hill neighborhood and of St. Margaret Mary Catholic Church in Linden. Father Bill, thanks for being here.
It's a joy to be here, and especially in this particular season of the year as well, in the Lenten season.
Yeah, and you were just telling me, because you brought a purple top, I'm curious about this symbolism behind these colors as well this time of season.
Yeah, I brought my purple sweater today
Yes.
in the Lenten season, and colors for us do have kind of a visual meaning too. It's not unlike, a red stop sign, a yellow light flashing, or a green light. The colors have certain symbolism to them, and for us, the most prominent color throughout the year is green, which is ordinary time. White is also a very important color for us during the year, like Christmas and Easter, the festive celebratory times of the year. We also use red as one of our vestment colors, a way to decorating church, and that's usually associated with martyrs, someone who died, or the Pentecost, Holy Spirit. But purple is also one of our regular colors we use to decorate the church and to wear as on vestments and things like that. And purple for us is a time of either penance or a time of preparation. And it has its roots kind of back in, I think, the fact that Jesus, when the soldiers were mocking him, put purple robes on him. And there was a time when purple, at the time of Jesus, was a sign of royalty, but it was used in a mocking way for him as a way on his, ultimately leading to Calvary and his death. But so purple for us is that kind of preparation, getting ready for something that's big that's coming. And so we wear it during Advent, getting ready for Christmas, and wear it during Lent, getting ready for Easter.
And you said it represents this time of penance. So I kind of want to get in, what exactly is Lent? Because I believe that's included.
Certainly. It's a season for us of preparation, first of all. But the origins of Lent oftentimes goes back to the earliest times in the church when people were getting ready for Easter, and particularly those who are getting ready to come into the church. So kind of like the last weeks of preparation, they would fast and pray and focus on getting themselves ready for that great joy that would come when they became members of the church, got baptized at Easter. And over time, even those who are already in the church, all those who are already Christian, would start doing it in solidarity with those who are preparing to become Christian. So it was a season in which collectively communities, in those days, it might have been a whole town, whatever it might be, wanted to be in solidarity with those who are getting ready to come into church. So they would also engage in the same kind of practices. And for us, it's a season of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. So it's a time in which we're not just focusing in on ourselves, but also how we can help other people with almsgiving and that as well. So, yeah.
So very community-oriented, very
Yes, it is.
supportive.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of brings me to fish fries, actually, because fish fries are just hugely popular in Louisville, which suggests a strong Catholic presence in the city. How prominent is the Catholic community here?
Well, we are certainly one of the larger Christian denominations in our community, and that I think goes back again to some of the roots of our community here. A number of the immigrants that moved into this area during the settling years, where a lot of them were French, German, Irish, and those kind of groups, and some of them Italians, large numbers too, Polish. I mean, it's over time. So many of those central, kind of Western, Eastern Europeans, and they bring that culture with them. and religion as well. So a number of the churches that were established, say, back in the 1880s, even some of the original ones, oftentimes were very ethnic parishes too as well. That there was a German parish, there was an Italian parish, those kind of things. So everybody was welcome, but there would be a predominant kind of culture there. So that's part of it. I think also reflects just the Louisville area too as well.
Yeah, so that gives its uniquely Louisville identity.
Part of, certainly areas of Louisville have a very unique identity associated with some of the early immigrants who settled there and their practices.
Right. Well, so I from what I understand, during Lent, people often give things up as a form of sacrifice and spiritual discipline. Beyond just fish on Fridays, what is the meaning behind this part of the tradition?
The fish on Fridays, eating
or
fish,
just giving things up.
Oh, giving things up. Mm-hmm. In general, well, it's always to be for a purpose. That it's not just doing without something to do without something. Certainly, one of the invitations, if you're say going to give up a certain kind of food, that as you redirect that's just say you're giving up chocolate. Well, then maybe the money you'd ordinarily spend on chocolate you would save, and at the end of Lent, give that away to some needy person or some needy organization. So the giving up was oftentimes a way of saying, this is something I really enjoy and I really like. Again, sometimes people give up certain TV shows today that you wouldn't have done in the past, but today, so it could be some people give up sometimes something on the media, whatever it might be, or music or whatever it might be for a period of time. And it's to say, even though this is an important part of my life, I want to show that it's not the dominant part of my life. And so you kind of, it's like self-control over some of those things. And meat was one of those things too, that led to the practice of fish for other reasons as well too.
So thinking about that, are there any common things people choose to give up? Or is it pretty diverse now?
It would be based on your own patterns. For somebody, I'm going to just be very, very playful and silly right now. For me to give up liver and onions would not be a sacrifice.
Right.
Because it's not something I would ordinarily eat.
Right.
So if you're going to give up something, it's something that you really enjoy, take whatever it may be as a regular part of your life, something that you even structure your life around, maybe something like a certain TV show. I can remember when I was, say, young in grade school, one of my favorite TV shows I would give up during Lent. So it's just something that you had structured and you were going to make that sacrifice. And again, not to give it up to just go be silly, but you give it up to do something else during that time. So I would give it up so I could then go spend some time reading.
Right.
And things like that. So the variety of things, it's not uncommon for people will give up something sweet, like give up desserts, give up chocolate, some of those kind of things, because that's something you really treasure. And if you do that every day, a little treat for yourself, well, that's a sacrifice you're making. So different people have different customs. They might give up, something dietary, it might give up something like, certain other things that are part of their patterns and traditions.
So then, as we kind of led into this, what is the significance behind giving up meat on Fridays?
Well, that is something that goes back really early in the church. It was viewed as being in solidarity because Friday is, by our tradition, the day in which Jesus died on the cross, his passion and death. And so because of what he suffered for us, then we can therefore give up something on that. But also giving up meat was not just limited to Fridays. Oftentimes, throughout many centuries in the early church, you also gave up meat on Wednesdays, because Wednesday is a tradition that being sometimes called Spy Wednesday, because Wednesday was the day that Judas met to set in place the plans that would then later, the next day on Holy Thursday night, betray Jesus. So because of his plotting, in a sense, on Wednesday, and in a sense receiving the 30 pieces of silver for selling Jesus, then Wednesday also was a day of fasting and sacrificing as well. So there's two terms we use. There's fasting and then abstinence. You can, like during Lent, you'll fast from everything that you give up. I don't give up what I give up on Lent this year. And I chose something I haven't done in quite a while. I did choose to give up desserts and chocolate.
Oh, wow.
Which I haven't done in a number of years, but I did this year. Well, I don't, abstain from that only on Friday, all the whole period of time. So fasting is giving up something for an extended period, but abstinence is choosing to do without meat or abstaining from something particularly in your diet. And that's what we're asked to do on Fridays. And up until, say about the middle 1960s, we abstained from meat every single Friday of the year. Mm-hmm. I could definitely remember in my childhood that Friday, no matter what day of the year it was always a day of abstaining from meat. Every day we would eat other things other than red meats and things like that.
What changed? What made that change?
For us, and our church after the Second Vatican Council, which was an attempt to help the church become more engaged in society and culture, the focus then shifted, and that was under Pope Paul VI now, that he limited the abstinence and fasting to just the season of Lent. And so that's when it became more focused during that time of year. And also, I think, when the fish fry process really got highly promoted in local communities, because that was a day then you would kind of all gather together to try to share in this common choosing to abstain, from meat. For us today, there are only 2 days in which we are required to have a true fast, which is Ash Wednesday and Good Friday. And again, fasting is where you have only one full meal a day, and you eat 2 lesser meals. They're not supposed to add up to one meal. So it is, again, a day of which you're trying to, again, give up not just meat, but give up all kinds of foods, just to eat very simply with that intention in mind.
So this is sort of a curious question for me. Why is fish not considered meat in this tradition?
Okay. It goes back to the red meats, those kind of things that were also part of what ordinarily would be sacrificed in the temple area at that time, in Jesus' time. And so it was a refraining from also the kind of meats that were readily available. Now, certainly if you live on the seacoast, it's not a sacrifice, and there certainly was plenty of fish in the Sea of Galilee. I mean, there was fish around. There's lots of stories of eating fish all year round. People do. But it was associated with the kind of animals that would traditionally be sacrificed at the altar in the temple areas. So those would have been things like meat that sheep, goats, cattle, all kinds of those kind of animals.
Like livestock.
Livestock, basically, yes.
Okay. So does fish hold a symbolic or cultural significance in the Catholic Church?
Well, interestingly, the symbol of a fish was oftentimes one of the ones that the early Christians, when they were hiding, from persecution, they would draw a symbol of a fish to indicate that they were a Christian. And you can do that because in Greek, the word for fish is ichthys. And if you write that out and then you kind of draw it all together, you can make the symbol of a fish out of that word. And so fish has kind of in certain ways been a bit of a symbol, for early Christian church as well. So it's not just an arbitrary choice of something. But again, I think it has to do with it was something that, except in the coastal areas, but certainly in the major continent areas, it's not as always readily available. And
right.
So you did have to make a sacrifice to get that. And again, even in our own modern day culture, some of the people joke about, well, I can't eat meat today, so I'm going to go out and have a big lobster meal. Well, that's, big, whatever that might be, lobster tails. Well, yes, it is not eating meat, but it's not much of a sacrifice.
Right. I was like, that sounds luxurious.
Yes, it can be. It can be. And people will say that, playfully or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Well, so because there's significance behind the symbol of a fish, is there any sort of particular fish that is commonly served at these fish fries that holds any significance itself?
I wouldn't think so. It's more just a cultural or a geographical area.
Sure.
I think a lot of times it's cod or haddock or something like that. But, I know some of the parishes do serve sometimes what would be fresh caught fish, which could be people catch in the lakes around here, whatever that might be, catfish, what it might be, and that they choose to fry that up and serve it in a way. So But I think most of the fish fries you go to, it's going to be cod or haddock.
So what are some typical dishes you might find in a fish fry spread here in Kentucky? And from your experience, how do these dishes compare to those in other regions?
Well, I think even within local parishes, it depends basically on the cooks in many ways. I mean, it's pretty standard to have coleslaw. Almost every French fry I've ever heard of has hush puppies and French fries, macaroni and cheese, are kind of standards. But some of them, will have green beans, but you have to be careful. You cook them with, say, onions. You don't use ham hock.
Oh, right, yeah.
You don't use bacon to flavor the vegetables, whatever it might be. So, I mean, there is some uniqueness on different churches' menus, and you can kind of check that out in advance going there. But there are certain things that, yes, you just always kind of find. And onion rings is another popular one. One of the things at least I like to tease people about, and this is true with those onion rings or, your fried fish, whatever. Most anything covered in bread and cooked in grease is going to taste good.
I'm getting hungry just to having this conversation.
That's right. So those are, I think, the ones that are most often the most popular ones. But I do know that different cultures will highlight, different type of things in their culture. Sometimes corn is available, and you can just keep on going from there. But to check around and what the different fish fries have.
Is there anything is Kentucky specific?
Not off the top of my head.
That's okay.
Again, our cornbread is oftentimes served instead of just regular, type of bread for some parishes, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And sometimes the variety is determined by the volume that you're doing and how much time you have to prepare. But that's one of the most wonderful things about fish fries is the people who actually do the prep work. They're almost like a small community within themselves.
Right.
Year after year, they fix the same things. They look forward to being together with each other, making the same things, and they know the shortcuts in terms of how to do this ahead of time or not, and what works and what doesn't work. But the fish fries, at our church at St. Margaret Mary's, the last 2 weeks in a row, we have served over 850 fish dinners, both nights. So 850 first night, 850 the next night. But that's not all we're selling because we're doing shrimp meals, and we're also got to have pizza for the kids who don't like fish, whatever it is. So overall, in a period of a couple hours, we're between dine in and carry out. It's well over 1,000 meals, and you do 1,000 meals in a couple hours.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be easy to serve and easy to prepare and able to be done something in a large quantity to be ready all at the same time.
And I want to talk about that community more in just a moment. We'll be back in a minute. You're on track with Louisville Public Media. Springtime is just around the corner, and it's not too soon to start planting your garden. Maybe you're wondering if your spot is sunny enough to support sweet peas, how to make your rosebuds abundant, or when to prune your poplar. Ask our master gardeners. Call or text 502-814-TALK. That's 502-814-8255 with your questions for On Track's Spring Gardening Show. Welcome back to On Track. I'm Aisha Jaffer, and this week we're exploring the role of food in religious observances, and our focus today is on Lent and the fish fries that come with it. We're talking with Father Bill Hammer, a pastor for nearly 45 years, currently serving in Louisville at St. William's and St. Margaret Mary Catholic Church. So what role does the Louisville Archdiocese play in organizing and providing guidance on these fish fries? How much freedom do individual parishes have?
Well, I would say each individual parish is pretty much totally free to make their own menus and do that. I mean, the Archdiocese is a help in terms of guiding us from some of the things like, we do have to, since we're selling food, we have to pay taxes on the sales and stuff like that as well. So we do need some administrative help and support on those kind of things. But the Archdiocese pretty much leaves up to each individual parish to make their own decisions about how to serve. And, you got to follow, again, alcohol beverage control, because oftentimes most fish fries serve, in addition to soft drinks and water, most of them have beer and things like that as too, which is, again, part of a cultural experience too as well here.
Yeah.
But But that's more the Archdiocese role, just making sure that we follow all the local responsibility. And also, food preparation, all the things that go with that.
So how important do you think these fish fries are to fostering community within your church?
Oh, certainly. I think I observe it all the time. First of all, the community is formed by those who are working, amongst themselves. But there's a lot of people who come, and some will arrive intentionally early, and they'll get in like into our gym and start
ready.
sitting down, even though we're not even serving food yet. And you have to get in line to get your food. Right. So if you're sitting down, you still got to get back up again. But what they're sitting down, is they're saving places. I mean, they're taking their coats, they're taking their, so that when their friends get there, there's a place for them to sit all together and laugh and enjoy and talk about whatever it is they want to talk about, catching up on that given week or what it may be. And I think the same thing happens with families. I see extended families sometimes.
That's wonderful.
Siblings now married, getting together with their families. And I'm hoping this coming week that I'll be getting together with some of my sisters here in town and brothers as well, too. So, we sometimes try to time it, to work out. But it is a big community building thing. And a lot of times you meet people just because you're sitting next to them. You didn't intend to meet, but now you get talking. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Well, you like this? And then it's like, well, what do you do? Or what do you, where are you, how long you been here? Or are you a visitor? And I do know that for some opportunities for people, it's a chance to reach out because sometimes people see the signs outside, they stop in and want to get to know us a little bit better. And sometimes they will come back on the weekend, for the Sunday Mass, or they may feel like they can reach out when they see sometimes advertised around there. We got this adult program coming up. This talk is coming up. We put things on the walls, just try to promote some of the things going on in the parish life. And, I didn't know about that. Well, I'll come to that. So it is a community building type of thing, and as well as a ministry process too as well.
So it's kind of like, you've got the community coming in, and then people are meeting each other, but there's kind of this opportunity to maybe reignite people's involvement in the church, or even bring in curious non-Catholics into the church.
Yes, that's what I'm alluding to. We try to put things up, saying what's going on in parish life so that people catch an idea. That's happening next week or whatever. We want to come to that particular program. So, but there is sometimes that kind of informal conversations that happen. When I'm at the door area, sometimes greeting people, and I can a lot of times recognize the faces of our regular members, and I'm saying, and or sometimes they simply come in, they got a glazed look on their face, so I know they're a visitor,
right?
And so to be able to initiate that contact and help them to feel welcome, and hopefully they take that experience of being welcomed here at this moment into the way that also parish life is as well. But it is, for a lot of congregations, a chance to get kind of the word out about what we are doing and come be part of it. And even in terms of the volunteers, that sometimes people will, because of subgroups within the parish, like we do ask some of our grade school parents to help on certain nights. And then through that, they will meet other school parents who they just don't get a chance to meet because that's not the cycle they're moving in.
Right. So it's a great time to kind of get everyone together.
Yes.
So, what continues to inspire you the most about this intersection of food, faith, and community through traditions like these, like fish fries?
Well, it's something that we've inherited, from those who went before us.
Right.
And that's the way our faith works. It goes back to Jesus and the early disciples. And they went out sharing who they were and what they had and what they believed. And then as they touch people through that, then they say, okay, let's be part of that. We like them. This used to be a good, safe community to be with or be around. And then they would draw more people in. So I think, using since we're talking about fish and water and using the ripple effect.
Oh, nice.
That little visual image, that there really is. I've seen that time and again. I would always like to see it in even larger numbers, but I've certainly witnessed in my time and over the years in different congregations that I've served in that there are people who become connected to the parish, or that maybe were members somewhat in name only, but now they're around and see, yes. They make that moment of a sort of kind of connection that they do want to continue to build on it, rather than just walk in, walk out.
Well, in your history, in the parishes, in ministry, do you have a standout moment you've seen at a fish fry that carries with you?
Goodness. Well, certainly I have seen at times people who show up who are obviously in need, and they're coming almost since begging. And I've witnessed, our volunteers respond immediately and not shove them away, not try to move them away, but here, please sit down. Can I get you some water? And then here, let me get you a sandwich. Let me take care of you. And so I think that, even though you've got lots of families, lots of kids, lots of things going around, yet they're going to respond to that person at that moment. And it's not a regular occurrence by no means. But that's something that I would say I walk away with a big smile afterwards when I've observed, people do that, or when I've had a chance to catch somebody who is outside and just totally lost. And I can tell by their appearance that they're a person in need, and to kind of walk them through the door and say, here, let's help you. And so those are kind of things that kind of pop out a lot to me. I've certainly gotten my hands dirty breading fish, and not dirty, but I mean, gotten a hand covered with that. And again, the watching and observing the systematic way in which the people who do it regularly can do it. I'm a rookie, and they kind of humor me.
Well, Father Bill, just before I let you go, do you have just a quick tip for anyone who might be entering a fish fry for the first time?
Oh, well, come with lots of anticipation, come with excitement, and come with your eyes wide open and observe us, see us, and sit and be with us. And it will be a fun time. It'll be an enjoyable time, but it can be a noisy and overwhelming time.
Well, thank you, Father Bill. Thanks for being here on Track.
You're welcome. Thank you for the invitation. Good to be with, and come out to the nearest fish fry.
Father Bill Hammer has been a pastor for nearly 45 years and is currently serving in Louisville at St. William's and St. Margaret Mary Catholic Church. And we heard from Tony Collier, a true fish fry enthusiast and co-founder of the Fish Fry Guys, a group of friends who started a Facebook page and explored what Louisville churches have to offer during Lent.
So about 14 years ago, a group of friends from high school, we went to St. X High School here in Louisville. We got into a little bit of I'm going to call it a heated discussion about who had the best fish fry. And so we decided to try them all because we wanted to settle the debate. At the end of each trip, we would rate the fish fries. And we'd use different metrics. We'd, of course, rate them on the fish. We'd rate them on the side dishes. We'd rate them on the desserts. Some of the bigger, more vibrant parishes, you could expect a good family atmosphere, lots of kids running around, having fun. Catholics have, and I'm a cradle Catholic, and there's different interpretations of this, but for giving up meat on Friday, it's my way of saying that I'm going to make this sacrifice to humble myself and to practice some of the principles that I understand the Catholic Church to lay down for us.
On Track is a production of Louisville Public Media. The On Track production team includes Michelle Tyreen Johnson, Jacob Munoz, Alex Biscardi, and Laura Ellis. If you're just tuning in and you want to hear the full show, you can find it now at LouisvilleOnTrack.org or in your favorite podcast app. And let's continue the conversation. Is there something you want to hear about, something that matters to your Kentuckiana experience? Let us know by sending a text or giving us a call at 502-814-TALK or send an email to ontrack@lpm.org. I'm Aisha Jaffer, and remember, being kind is free. That's the start of community. Until next time, you're on track with Louisville Public Media.